Hello? Is anyone there? No? Okay, well, I guess I'll just walk over to the logs and get something to eat then until it...
Hey, Bard! God, holy mother of Gogmazios, why would you do that?
Ladies, gentlemen, and monsters of all ages, welcome back to the next edition of your own greatest debates. The biggest decisions made by you. Your own opinions gathered into a bundle for me to share back with you, just so you can know if you feel the same way as everyone else.
Pretend I agree with them.
Today's topic of discussion, a little special episode here as we stray away from the norm, is something a little bit unique. Not about the quality of monsters or weapons or things that you specifically like or dislike, but about something a bit more abstract. Today, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for a dissection of the official community-generated list of the top 5 scariest monsters of all time. If you're looking for some fun, this is the right place to be. And if you're afraid I'll jump scare you again, don't worry, I won't. Probably. If you would like to take part in the next of these community-voted lists, the top 5 types of wyvern, which of course includes non-wyverns, naming things is hard, okay, scroll on down to the description of this video where you can find a link to the poll in question to cast your vote. And if you do so, make sure that you come back to the comments of this video to tell me why you voted the way that you did. And if you do so, you may even show up on screen next week. For those who don't know, I have absolutely no input on these lists. I don't even put in the initial options. I leave that entirely up to you, letting you be entirely in charge of what shows up. You know, unless someone submits a ridiculously offensive thing. Stop doing that. This is all up to you guys. I am merely an observer and a researcher on the subject. Getting into the core of the experience, then, we'll be going over the list itself of the top 5 scariest monsters as voted by you, followed by a little graph-based analysis of the experiment as a whole. So without further ado, let's begin with...
Number 5, with 6.48% of the votes.
It built a hammock, where it lay all day and watched the caffeine spider go.
Nerscylla.
Nerscylla takes my vote for spookiest monster. She's a giant spider that had a stinger that can put you to sleep, and she wears the literal skin of gyps arrows.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this is a monster that I 100% expected to see somewhere around here today. Being a giant spider definitely gives you a slight advantage in creeping out the average person. That stinger extending out animation is just also built to be terrifying. And yeah, she does literally wear the skin of a dead monster. It's hard to outdo all of that, honestly. On top of that, her actual fight mechanics can cause a lot of fear as well. As she can hang from the bottom of webbed areas, she can also inflict sleep on you and just make you watch as she sets up a big attack against you. She can poison you, which is just an ever-approaching demise, and then she can also web you up, once again leaving you pretty much helpless until she comes to take a chomp out of you. God damn though, I hope she does make it to the new world someday. She would be so amazing in our modern engine. Like, she would fit so perfectly in the Rotten Vaal too. Okay, I'm going a little bit off track here. Let's jump to
Number 4, with 8.58% of the votes.
Isn't it bad enough that I occasionally lay an egg?
Giginox.
To me, Giganox is the creepiest, an eyeless leech-like lizard with heat vision that climbs on the cave ceilings. Able to change its color like a chameleon, and last laying egg sacs of parasitic young that slowly suck the living essence of their prey.
And the lack of eyes is a specifically good point. Whether we realize it or not, humans take in a lot of information about a living creature through their eyes. It's the best way to show emotion in something that can't talk, and really give you a window into the way that they work. So really, anytime that you mess with a monster's eyes, it ups their scariness level a pretty good chunk. He also literally has predator vision, which is quite applicable here, and that isn't even mentioning the fact that he lays eggs mid-quest. Like, literally, while he is fighting you, he'll just drop a load of babies on the floor, and they'll start attacking you. Like, hell, that is not a very fun moment of the fight to think about.
Number 3, with 13.41% of the votes. Kazoo.
I think that for the legit scariest I'd go for Kazoo. This guy is literally made to creep you out. No theme song adding to that frozen creepy atmosphere. His cry, that huge extending neck. The white almost morbid skin with all those veins, that huge mouth, and the fact that it has no eyes, to me that's important.
This comment nails a lot of it, really. You definitely caught the general feel. Khezu is made from the ground up to terrify players. He is pale and extremely veiny, and he does not get a theme song. All you hear when you fight him is frigid cave winds. The sounds that he makes are terrifying, and the extending neck is definitely not a comfortable thing to look at, in my opinion.
For me, Kazoo is the scariest monster of all time. If you see him, you just think to yourself, ooh, what an abomination. His scream gives me anxiety, and his neck is just too ooh.
Yep, he just sort of makes me feel stressed out just by being anywhere close to him. It's just this feeling of general creepiness that they absolutely nailed while designing Khezu. Not to mention the fact that he plants egg sacs in living creatures until the young eat their way out from the inside. So, you know, that's definitely a factor in this as far as I'm concerned.
Number 2 with 14.05% of the votes.
Mushrooms, you got mushrooms, Jerry.
Blackveil, Vaal Hazak.
I wanted to vote Blackveil Vaal Hazak because personally I get sick seeing rotten skin, but mixed with mushrooms and in-world graphics led to me fighting him not once but asking friends to do so while I stay in the camp.
That is honestly sort of adorable. Blackveil is definitely meant to be a creepy monster, and while I personally think that he isn't meant to be necessarily as scary as his base counterpart, I can definitely see how you would be totally creeped out by the mossy, mushroomy, rotten skin texture that he has going on. It is definitely one of the more unique textures in the game, and sometimes this game can just look a little bit too real for your own comfort.
I'd have to say Blackveil Vaal Hazak cause it kinda looks like a xenomorph, and the intro cutscene for it definitely made me get Alien Isolation vibes, and not to mention the spores remind me of what could have caused the zombies from The Last of Us.
Yeah, this makes sense too, but really it is all quite reasonable. Any thoughts of him being scary, after all, even past his visual appearance, all of his animations are so slow, deliberate, and fluid in a way that looks nearly snake-like, but like a lethargic snake covered in fuzzy, rotting skin. Yeah, okay, I definitely understand this one being here.
Number 1 with 22.9% of the votes. Shara Ishvalda.
Shara, the eyes watching you always, the twitch when he walks towards you, the fact he was a story-wise play dead, his weird spindly arm wings that curl up like a spider in his death animation. That's some creepy shit right there.
And here he is. My first instinct was to call a recency bias on this one, but the more that I think about it, the more I think I actually genuinely agree with it. His initial rock form was absolutely terrifying to me the first time that I saw it. It was just unlike anything that I'd ever seen before in any Monster Hunter game that I'd played. Not that I'd played all that many, to be honest, both in terms of size and shape. Just completely unusual and massive and just amazing. Then once you remove the rock armor, you see the tree demon creature held within in all of its glory. God, it looks so good if you can just get past the fact that it is creepy as all hell. And that isn't even mentioning the part where he opens his eyes up, and they are just these soulless, robotic-looking, golden, beady, red pupiled things that stare not at the hunter, but at the player, directly into the camera, directly at you. God, Char is just such a good monster. And as far as you guys are concerned, he is also the scariest monster too.
The council has reached its decision.
And that just about covers it for the list itself, ladies and gentlemen, which means it's time for my favorite part of this whole thing, a little bit of graphical analysis. First things first, yes, the handler is on this list, and yes, I do accept that. Another non-monster on the list is that one Hublass, and well, we all know the one that it's referring to, and honestly, that is totally fair enough, guys. That's a good call. Another thing that you guys may note is that both Blackveil Vaal Hazak and regular Vaal Hazak are on this list. However, if I were to add regular Vaal Hazak's votes to Blackveil Vaal Hazak's, it would not change the position to the standings at all, so I figured I might as well show him here so you can see where he went in individually as well. Other than that, my main note is, hey, there's a lot of old world monsters on this list here. Maybe recency bias hasn't taken over completely after all. Maybe, just maybe, there is still hope. Alright everyone, I've been Cotton Dinosaur and this has been your list of the official top 5 scariest monsters of all time. Do you agree with the majority on this one? Which of these lists would you like to see us do next? Like if you liked the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
This is the brand new outro to tell you all the things that you do that we love, so let's start with something simple and say, oh, we love your eyes. When they're watching us play video games, when we make a bunch of jokes that are kinda lame, or when they gaze upon our failures as we try to kill the monsters or important news about the kingdom Animalia. Rage, Continent, Hollow, we're all here, talking about the things you want to hear. So if you want to be the first to hear, like and subscribe and the bell and we'll cheer. Some of you are patrons even though we are all the noobs and you're the pros. There's nothing we can do to thank you. No, really, there's nothing we could possibly do. Goodbye.